a $2 can sitting in most garages already solves. WD-40 has been in American homes since 1958, and over 70% of people who own a can use it for exactly one thing before putting it back on the shelf. The other uses are the ones nobody talks about because there is no service appointment to bill you for. Today I am exposing every trick dealers quietly use themselves, but never volunteer to customers. Let's get into it. A dirty gas cap seal is one of the most common causes of a check engine light that has nothing mechanically wrong with the engine. The sealing ring and threads accumulate fuel residue, grime, and dried rubber debris over years of fill-ups. Once the seal is compromised even slightly, vapor escapes the tank and triggers an evaporative emissions fault code. That code generates a diagnostic appointment at $150 before anyone has opened the bonnet. The actual problem is a dirty seal. Marcus in Texas drove around for 3 weeks with a check engine light before a friend told him to clean the cap. One toothbrush, and 5 minutes later, the light cleared before he pulled out of the driveway. He had already scheduled a $150 diagnostic for the following Monday. Spray WD-40 around the threads and the rubber sealing ring, work it in with an old toothbrush, and wipe clean. The solvent dissolves the residue that was preventing a clean seal. The cap itself costs about $12 to replace if the seal is cracked beyond cleaning. Dealers frequently recommend full cap replacement when a clean is all that is needed. Before you keep scrolling, do you actually know what that haze on your mirrors is made of? Most people get it wrong, and that wrong answer is costing them every night drive. Water spots on side mirrors are not just cosmetic. Baked-on mineral deposits scatter light and create glare that reduces the clarity of your rear view in bright conditions. Standard glass cleaner does not dissolve mineral deposits. It moves them around. WD-40 does dissolve them because the petroleum-based solvent breaks down the calcium and magnesium compounds that hard water leaves behind. Detailing shops charge $20 to $40 for a mirror restoration service. The detailing shop charges that because most drivers have never been told the 4-cent alternative works just as well. Sandra in Florida paid $38 at a detail shop for mirror restoration. The technician sprayed something from a bottle, wiped for 90 seconds, and handed her the keys. She found out 6 months later what was in the bottle. It was not anything the shop mixed themselves. Up next, your seats are storing something you cannot see and cannot smell, but it is destroying the leather from underneath. A leather specialist charges $80 to fix it. You will not need to call one after this. If you're learning something new here, consider subscribing now. Leather and vinyl seats accumulate embedded body oils, sweat, and fine dirt particles that standard cleaning wipes sit on top of rather than lifting out. WD-40 acts as a solvent for those oil-based deposits without stripping the material's moisture the way alcohol-based cleaners do. Professional leather cleaning at a detailing shop runs between $80 and $150 per session. No leather specialist volunteers that a solvent already in most garages does the same job before they hand you the invoice. Derek in Georgia booked a leather cleaning appointment for his truck seats and was quoted $120. His wife tried WD-40 on a cloth the night before just to see. By morning, the seats looked better than the quote promised. They canceled the appointment. Stay there, because the next one is going to make you look at your tires differently. What you think is wear is not wear. And the fix takes 90 seconds. You look at your tires and think you need a full set. The rubber looks brown, chalky, and tired. You price replacement. You stop yourself. Tire sidewalls oxidize with exposure to UV light and ozone. The result is surface browning that is often mistaken for structural wear. That browning is surface oxidation and road tar, not structural degradation. WD-40 cuts through both. Spray onto the sidewall and scrub with a stiff brush. The solvent breaks down the oxidation layer and the tar deposits simultaneously. Wipe with a dry cloth and the rubber returns to deep black. Tire dressing products at auto shops cost $8 to $15. Quote stayed on the fridge as a reminder. The next one might actually get you pulled over, and it is not what you think it is. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, degraded taillights reduce the distance at which following drivers can see braking signals. WD-40 applied to the lens surface temporarily clears the oxidation haze by filling the micro scratches in the polycarbonate that scatter the light. This is a diagnostic step as much as a fix. If WD-40 clears the haze, the lens is oxidized on the surface and a $20 polishing kit will solve it permanently. If it does not clear, the degradation is deeper and replacement may be warranted. You now know which one you have before spending anything. Taillight replacement at a dealership runs $150 to $400 per assembly. Wendy in Colorado was told at her annual inspection that both taillights would fail in 6 months and to budget for replacement. She used WD-40 that afternoon, then followed with the polishing kit. Both lenses passed the next inspection. The dealership estimate stayed at $400. If your taillights are failing an annual roadworthy inspection due to haze, this treatment can restore enough clarity to pass. Have you ever wiped your dashboard, walked away, and found it covered in dust again 2 days later? There is a reason that keeps happening. The next trick stops the cycle. The dust carries an electrostatic charge that attracts it back to the same surfaces within days. A light application of WD-40 on a cloth, wiped across dashboard panels and around vent openings, leaves a thin petroleum film. Use sparingly and on cloth only, never directly on the surface. A very light application is all that is needed. The goal is a barely perceptible film, not a greasy coating. Detailers never explain the static charge issue because the solution, a few cents of petroleum distillate, would eliminate a repeat customer. A professional interior detail that addresses the electrostatic dust problem runs $80 to $150 at a detailing shop. That service interval extends from every 2 months to every 6 when the static charge is neutralized. The WD-40 treatment costs nothing and takes 4 minutes. Chris in Ohio had his car detailed every 6 weeks because the dashboard dusted over so fast. His detailer charged $95 a session. A friend showed him the static trick. He went from 6-week intervals to 4 months. That is roughly $250 a year back in his pocket. Just ahead, what if bird droppings, tree sap, and road grit had nothing to stick to? The next trick changes that equation. Between professional details, paint is exposed to bird droppings, tree sap, and atmospheric fallout that etch into the clear coat within hours if left untreated. A light mist of WD-40 buffed onto individual panels creates a temporary barrier that prevents those contaminants from bonding directly to the clear coat surface. Bird droppings removed within a few hours from a WD-40 coated surface leave no mark. The same droppings left on unprotected paint for a few hours in heat can etch through the clear coat permanently. No detailer explains the barrier technique for free. The paint correction appointment is worth $60 to $120 every time contamination etches through. Ryan in Texas came back from a camping trip to find 3 birds had decorated the bonnet overnight while the car sat in the sun. He wiped the droppings off with a damp cloth and they came away clean without marking the paint. He had applied WD-40 the morning he left. His neighbor, same trip, same parking area, different car, paid $80 for a spot polish 3 days later. A single bird dropping that etches through the clear coat requires spot polishing at $60 to $120 per panel. Full clear coat failure requires a respray at $800 to $2,000 per panel. The Barrier Alight WD-40 application provides costs less than $1 and takes 3 minutes per panel. The next one involves something you fight with every single morning without realizing the fight is unnecessary. Completely fixable. Takes 4 minutes. Seatbelt webbing accumulates body oils, fine dirt, and dried cleaning residue that causes the internal retracting mechanism to drag rather than retract smoothly. Seatbelt retractor replacement at a dealer runs $150 to $300. In most cases of stiff retraction, the mechanism is not worn, it is contaminated. Use this as a diagnostic step. If the belt retracts freely after 2 treatments, contamination was the problem and the mechanism is fine. If it still drags after 3 full treatments, the retractor spring is worn and the belt needs replacement. WD-40 just told you which situation you are in before you paid anyone to figure it out. Lisa in North Carolina had been fighting her driver's seatbelt for 8 months. It retracted halfway and stopped. The dealer quoted $220 for a retractor replacement, 2 WD-40 treatments, and 2 days later, the belt retracted cleanly every time. That was 14 months ago. Next up, the dealer charges $200 to identify this problem. The fix takes 30 seconds. Stay there. Ignition switch tumblers accumulate graphite, dust, and oxidation over years of key insertions. The result is a key that requires increasing force to turn and eventually a grinding sensation as the tumbler drags. Dealers charge between $80 and $200 for an ignition diagnosis, often recommending tumbler replacement when lubrication is the actual fix. An ignition that grinds slightly is not necessarily worn. It is often just dry and dirty. Greg in Pennsylvania had been quoted $180 for an ignition tumbler replacement after his key started needing 2 hands to turn it. He sprayed WD-40 into the keyhole, worked the key for 2 minutes. The grinding was gone the same day. The tumbler is still the original one, 4 years later. This is specifically for stiff or grinding keyhole ignitions. If the key is turning freely but not starting the car, that is an electrical issue, and WD-40 is not the solution. That screech when you start your car, it might not mean what you think it means. The next trick tells you the truth in 30 seconds. And the answer will either save you $80 or send you to the right mechanic. Wheeling serpentine belt on startup is one of the most alarming sounds a car makes. It sounds like the engine is about to fail. Usually it is not. If the squeal stops or reduces significantly, the belt was glazed or contaminated, not structurally failing. If the squeal persists, or the belt shows visible cracking, fraying, or splitting, the belt needs replacement. The diagnostic value here is significant. Dealers charge $70 to $150 to diagnose belt noise. Use this as a 30-second diagnostic, not a permanent fix. If the squeal stops, the belt was contaminated. WD-40 just saved you a $150 misdiagnosis fee. If the squeal continues, you need a replacement. And now you know that too, without paying the dealer to tell you. If the squeal stops after WD-40 application, have the belt inspected anyway at your next service. Paul in Ohio heard a belt squeal every cold morning for 2 weeks before trying this. 1 light spray, engine on, silence. Belt is still on the car 11 months later with no recurrence. He had the shop inspect it at the next oil change. Technician confirmed the belt showed no cracking and was within spec. How long have your windows been grinding instead of gliding? The reason is almost embarrassingly simple. The next trick fixes it in 3 minutes, and most people never connect the dots. Power window glass that moves slowly or hesitates is usually attributed to a failing window motor. In most cases, below 80,000 miles, the motor is fine. The rubber window channels are dirty and dry. Window motor replacement at a dealer runs $250 to $500. A slow window that is ignored puts sustained load on the motor and will eventually cause the motor failure that was never actually the original problem. The channel lubrication treatment also reduces wind noise from improperly sealed windows. Dry rubber channels that have shrunk slightly seal better after treatment. Diane in Illinois had a dealer service advisor write up a $480 window motor replacement after her passenger window moved slowly. She asked a mechanic friend first. He sprayed the channel and ran the window up and down 3 times, full speed within a minute. That motor is still running fine 2 years later. A mechanic will tell you your side mirror motor is dead. 9 times out of 10, the motor is completely fine. Something else is the problem, and it costs nothing to fix.